Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar. Good evening, good morning, depending on where you are. I'm Jose Diacono. I'm one of the co-founders of CrossCountry App, and today I'm going to show you a lot of new features and productivity tools that we've introduced over the last 8 months or so. I've also got some tips on best practice and then some fun stuff at the end with show jumping. So first of all, I'm going to share my screen. And we'll have a look at the CrossCountry, at the toolkit, sorry. So we're in our demonstration event, Summerhill Farm, and we've got a number of courses here. And the first one I'm going to use is this one. This is a course, it's actually a copy of Alain Ponceau's European Pony 2-star course. So thanks to Alain for that. And that's near Le Mans in southwest of Paris. So first of all, a couple of rider focused enhancements. We can now have numbered compulsory passages. Now that's something that also has been required by some of the national governing bodies. So we'll add a couple of compulsory passages here and here. So I'll accept that. And then we'll just change them from being a jump into a compulsory passage. And then this one into a compulsory passage. And you'll see that it is now CP1 and CP2. So those will now appear in the CrossCountry app, and they'll appear in the on the print maps. So if we save that and go out, you'll see in the print that we've got our compulsory passage 1, compulsory passage 2, and all our usual information. We can change our track color if we want, all the usual things. So let's make that red for now. And if we wanted to make that map in French, then we could just say, change the language, and then all the course information becomes French. We have passage obligatoire, the scanning, QR code information. We even have, for example, if you want to put the print date in, you'll see it says imprimé and the date. So that's just something that's nice for different languages. You can have Swedish, for example. So we've got all the Swedish terminology there. If your language isn't represented here, then do get in touch. We'll just need you to give us the right words, and we can add you to the list. So we'll just get out of there. We don't need to save it. Now let's have a look at builder's instructions, because this is something that has been requested for quite a while. So now it's here. You can now add private builder instructions in both the CrossCountry app and the toolkit. So as you walk around recording your course, you can use voice to text to dictate your instructions, for example, or type them in, or you can add them in the toolkit later. So let's have a look at these. And if we have a look at this one, we'll see that we've got a coffin jump here, frangible. We don't have a fence type, so I'll get you a better example than that. We'll try number 3, log with a view. Okay, so that's got a fence type because it's a single element, and it's a round one. So you've got some builder's instructions here, and they will only be visible to the owner and to collaborators who have a toolkit subscription. So they're very secure. And this means that when you publish your course, you don't have to delete them if you're worried about the riders seeing your internal comments. So you've got a picture, well after that competition, you've got a picture of everything that was done. In addition to the builder's instructions, we've got information about whether it's frangible or not. We've got height measurements. Now, for those of you who are FEI designers or British eventing designers, these will be very familiar fields because they're taken from the FEI specifications. So the whole idea of capturing the information here is that it will be possible to export that to the FEI database. And that will mean that as you are creating the course, you can add this information and it will be more current, more complete, more accurate than, say, you have to add it, fill in your report 2 weeks after the competition when you're already designing your next course. So we can add a top spread in here, for example, and the base spread. The measurements can be either public or private. It's up to you. So you can have them public, then riders will know whether your courses are up to height. And you've got some intelligence in here. If we have a look at, there's a brush fence somewhere. Trying to find it. There's some more. Oh, here we are, a brush fence. This is a brush fence, so it knows that it's a brush. So it said yes to the brush. So we've got a little bit of intelligence in there just to, again, save you having to put all this information in. Now, the FEI are going to do what's called an API, an Applications Programming Interface. They've been impressed with the work that we've done. So it's a matter of just watching this space. But you can certainly start entering your data if you wish. Now, what I would definitely say is you need to split out the elements. So if you're entering measurements or fence safety data, and you've got a 21 ABC like this, you need to have individual elements. Otherwise, you can't identify if 21A is frangible and 21B isn't, then you can't put that information in. And the way that works is that when you're looking at it in the map, I'll just go out and show you, the efforts are still combined. So it's still really neat, but you can just then zoom in further and get all that extra information. And that's how we report badminton, for example. So you've got fence by fence information about all those different efforts. One extra thing that you can do is in the editor is you can actually display your minute markers. Now, this is only something you can do in the editor. We don't have them in the print maps. The reason being that if everybody started printing maps with minute markers, then there would be really no incentive or less incentive for people to subscribe to the Pro app, and our business case would collapse. But they're very useful for you as you are designing. You can see where your minute markers will be. Now we'll exit that and we'll go back into our event. And I'll show you some of the bulk actions that you can do. Now, this will really speed up your work. So if you want to move courses, for example, you've got a little over here, you've got a little tick box, and you can tick them. And you'll see down here, these are the commands that you're allowed to apply to them. If we tick this one, which is owned by someone else, you'll see that I can't do add collaborator. And I don't think I can delete either, no. So that's really useful. So if we wanted to move those courses to somewhere else, And I would certainly urge you to have a look at your folders and do a bit of reorganization now. There's a lot of event folders that have got all different sorts of names. Sometimes they might say Summerhill Farm April or Summerhill 2026 or Summerhill, all one word, HT, and you end up with a bit of a mess in your directories. So I would use these bulk functions to do a bit of tidying up, and I'll say a bit more about event naming in a minute. But if I wanted to move these, I could just say, type in the start of a name and it'll find me where I might want to move them to. And then it will move them all. If I wanted to add collaborators, then I can say you've got 7 courses. You can add your technical delegate as a collaborator to all those courses. They will get 7 emails telling them they've been added, but they can just delete those. But that's a big time saver. And you can duplicate them as well. And this is quite a useful thing. If you are taking last year's courses and you want to just make a few changes for this year, then you can duplicate those courses and then drag the track, add some jumps, move some jumps around, for example. But you can get a bit unstuck if you include, say, old photographs, which you then don't replace. If you have the official time and distance in there and you've changed it, and then you end up with riders complaining because they've got time penalties. You might want to not include the collaborators until you've done a bit more work on the course and then add them later. So there's all these things that you can either select all if you want to do the old-fashioned duplication, or you can just say, well, look, I just want the photos and the reporting fields, and I'll do my duplication. So if I duplicate those now, you'll see I've got these copies. These 3 files that are copied. So if I wanted to delete those, 1, 2, 3, I can say delete. And then obviously it checks to make sure you're really sure, and you delete them. So that's a really big time saver. If you want any help reorganizing, then just get in touch. I'll be more than happy to help. Now, a word about your event logo as well. When you create an event, you can add a logo, and you can see here there's a little camera. That means that I've got permission to change that logo. Now, if you're adding courses to someone else's event, you may not be able to change. You won't be able to change the logo or add a logo. But again, I can help on that. So I would urge you to put an event logo in there. It looks so much nicer when people view your courses in the app, when they see them in Courses Near Me or latest events. And it saves me a lot of time, because what I've been doing is very often when people don't add the logo, I do it, and I just try and find a logo that is the right one from Facebook, for example. But it would be a big help to me if you add your own logos. There's some other information that we can look at in this basic tab. We've got an event date here. Now, the event date is something we've added, and that is the date that it's going to run. And that's important for boosting your event in the algorithm, because the algorithm is going to be looking at showing current events. So if you publish your courses a week before the competition, for example, by the time the competition happens, they might have sort of disappeared down the order, down the algorithm. So put the event date in there. If there is no event date, then it has a date updated, and you can always see that in the information screen in the app. So if people are not sure whether a course has been updated, they can look on that info screen and see that, or what's the event date, when was it last updated. Now, the other thing that you can change is you can change the location. Now, I've had a couple of queries about this. We use Google geocoding to identify the location, but if it's not right, if you want to have a different town or different information there, or sometimes it can't find anything at all and it says that it's undefined, you can actually type in the location of your event there. And you can also export now photos of different sizes. So you used to be able to just get 960 pixels wide, but now you can have bigger ones. So if you want them for social media, or if you want them to build an asset database, then you can have them in different sizes and download those as a zip file. Now, one thing I didn't mention was adding photos while we're on that subject. You can add multiple photos at once now, and they will upload in the background. So you don't have to wait for the photo to upload before you go to the next fence. So if we look at this 6ABC, DE, we can actually choose our files. So I've got 6 photos here, and I'm uploading them. Now, if I do a save now, depending on the speed of my internet, yes, it will just give me a message saying some changes saved, but upload still in progress. So that means don't go exiting the course until everything's uploaded. It will also, if you do exit the course, it will give you another message. Something that you may not be familiar with, you can change the order of photos, or you can just delete photos. And that uploading in the background is particularly useful for videos because obviously they take longer to upload. So that's that information. We'll go out now. Now, now I'll show you how to create a show jumping course. Now this is new. We haven't finished it yet. So we'll welcome feedback as to what else it needs. You can't, for example, you can't record a show jumping course in the CrossCountry app yet. You can just create it in the toolkit, which is what I'm going to show you. So we'll go into Summerhill Farm. And this is, if you want to create a course from scratch, this is where you do it, create course. But instead of being a cross-country course, it's show jumping. So let's make that a training course, 325 meters a minute. And it's this Sunday. So that's optional, the event date. We'll create it. Now this puts us into the satellite imagery at the most recent course in our folder. So because we've got a bit of a mixture of courses for demonstration purposes, I need to go to the Sydney International Equestrian Centre, which is at Saxony Road. Horsley Park, here we are. So we'll go out, we'll zoom out a little bit. So this is the Sydney International Equestrian Centre. And what we'll do is we'll create a show jumping course in this arena. There we are. So the only option we've got is the draw tool. Now, if you haven't used the draw tool yet, you can use this for cross-country courses as well. If you know the venue, you can zoom in on that satellite imagery, which is really good, and just draw your track from the comfort of your own office. So we'll draw that. So you just basically put lots and lots of dots. You can put them a bit further apart or closer together, depending on how accurate you want it to be or how patient you are. So that's my course. And now I add my jumps. Okay, and accept that. And we'll renumber them. But we'll make this into a 4AB. Oh. Okay. And now you'll see that little red dots come back from renumbering. So we'll renumber. And we'll just save that for now. So I'm going to add my show jumps now. So click on fence 1. Now I've got a fence type again, but instead of it being all those profile pictures, it gives me the choice of a vertical, an oxer. So let's be a bit mean, put a triple bar in. And then, so we just go around adding these. And one thing that is useful is that you can actually leave cross-country jumped in there. And now if you're running a derby, and there are a lot of, I know in the USA and in Britain, there are a lot of derby courses, which are a combination of show jumping and cross-country. So you can actually create a map which differentiates between them, which is pretty clever. So that's my show jumping map. If I've got some little sort of sharp edges here, I can smooth it a little bit just to make it look a bit more attractive. And then I'll save that. And we'll go back out. And so if I want to print this now, I can do so. And I could have the can have it as a portrait, for example. I can have the jumps at the bottom. Where are we? Layout, bottom. And if I want, one of the things that we want feedback on is that for show jumping, you probably aren't going to want to have the numbers, especially if you don't have names for them, sponsors. So what we are looking for feedback on is, do you want just to be able to have the name of the course and the details printed on that map rather than the fence numbers? So we'd welcome feedback on that. And again, you can have this in multiple languages as well. The other thing to show you is the leaderboard, which is here. Now we started this last year. For course designers, if you publish a course, you get 5 points. And if you publish one with photos, you get an extra 5 points. So we have a cumulative total for the year, and then we have a leader for each month. And the leader last year was Adri Lee Doyle, and she won a beautiful Yeti drink cup, and she's going to be getting a jacket as well. So well worth aiming for that leaderboard prize. So now we'll look at the Learn Hub. If you're not familiar with that, that has all the information on there of the topics I've been talking about and lots more. Some of the topics you can expand where there's more information. If you're searching for something specific, you can also just type that into Google. So if you type in CrossCountry Toolkit Extend Track, for example, then it'll take you to the appropriate page. So do take the time to look at those. There's step-by-step instructions, there's little short videos, everything you need to keep going. Now I'll look at the builders report. I'll show you that. So you can see there that there's the fence name, efforts, numbers, and then you've got time from start, and then you've just got the builder instructions. So you can print that out, create a PDF, send it to people. They can print it out and write things all over it. And then the next thing is the measurements. Now this is an expanded version of the stats. It's still called stats, but you can see that it's got actually the frangible information, heights, all the dimensions and so on. So these reports, if you need something specific, we can create a custom report for you. So that's it. That's all the features, all the new features. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please explore them and give us your feedback. So if there's any questions or feedback, I'd love to hear that now. Thank you.